Hey y'all, my name is Jeff Nowak, WWL Radio digital sports producer. Here getting ready to celebrate our 100th anniversary with special guests. We got Mark Romig, Chief Marketing Officer at New Orleans & Company, and you'll know him better as the stadium announcer at the Caesars Superdome, where he's been for the past decade. You know, what's your earliest memory of the Saints as it pertains to WWL? You know, whether it's a call, whether it's a specific game that you listen to. Has anything kind of stick out there for you?
You know, I think the game that resonates in my head from way back is Jim Henderson talking about Hakeem dropped the ball. I just remember Jim Henderson just coming through the radio. He was so excited because it was right when we started to find our footing, and then we were going to be going into the playoffs. I was in my car. I was heading to a Sugar Bowl event, and I was listening to the game, and it was just a memorable moment. Because Jim Henderson at the time, he just got so excited, and he really kind of punctuated the play, and that's my earliest remembrance in most recent times. You know, WWL has been part of my family for so many years, just growing up and listening to the AM station 870 for so long, but it really resonated in my head as it became the official station for the New Orleans Saints, and caught a lot of the games that way.
You know, obviously you succeeded your father in 2013, who was there for 4 decades as the PA announcer. You know, what are your memories of that? Was it kind of a surreal moment to kind of take that role after hearing your father do it for so long?
Well, yeah, the stepping in my dad's shoes after so many years that he was at the microphone. You know, he was there for 44 years. People grew up knowing no other voice than my father's, and he had some specific calls he would make. People were used to his first downs. They were used to his touchdowns. Fortunately, I guess you could say fortunately, we both joked about this, but we feel like we sound a little bit alike because we have a deviated septum. He has one, I have one. And so that nasal tone, that quality of the nasal announcing came through for him. And then I tried to replicate that as close as I could so that there would not be too much of a disruption for the fans in the stadium. And I remember he told me, Mark, be your own announcer, do your own thing. But I know he was pleased to know that I tried really hard to kind of emulate his first down calls and touchdown calls. His famous one was Colston. He would love to announce when Colston caught a pass because he would drag out the Colston. I only had 1 or 2 seasons to try to do that, but he was glad that I was able to come close to some of his famous saves.
If you had to pick a game over the last decade, what would you say is the most memorable? Obviously, you're doing home games specifically, because it's where you're calling. But does one kind of stand out to you?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's the one that we don't like to talk about too much. That was the when the call that did not occur. Because I was so ready to call for a flag on the play because everybody was looking for that flag, and it just never occurred. And it was just like this in the entire house controls booth. All of the energy just flowed out of us at one time. We just had this like, what? We can't believe this. So we felt the same way as everyone on the sidelines and everyone in the stands. Even the people I think who came in from Los Angeles. Felt the same way. I mean, it was just not something that we expected. So that one probably sits right there at the top. I think the first game I called, it was the Atlanta game in 2013, the first regular season game. Fortunately, we won, and that was my way of getting all those butterflies out of me, because you can imagine stepping up to the microphone after Dad had been there for so many years and pushing the button and saying my first call. Once I knew that I didn't have that frog in my throat and I was able to announce, that sticks in my mind as a memorable game as well. But happier moments. There've been some wonderful games. There the time that Drew Brees broke the passing record, and he had his family out there. I mean, those are those moments that become very emotional, and really the Saints fans are a family. Everyone in that stadium everyone that pulls for the Saints, either at home or wherever they are, including the stadium. And those are the family moments. And I've been able to enjoy being in the announcing booth with my brother Jay, who works for the Saints full time. He works the clock, and then my sister Mary Beth spots for me. She spotted for my dad for many years, and now she's spotting for me. And so she, she's watching the action on the field and giving me her count of what is happening, so I sound like I know what I'm doing. And so just having that family experience in the house controls booth every game is also very special.
When you talk about 100 years, I think more than just the time, I think it's just the consistency of, just kind of one voice that's being able to, provide all this information and analysis and news with really no interruption beyond, obviously, things happen. But, as someone who's been here for a good chunk of that, how unique is that to just be able to look back and say, okay, this is kind of this long-standing, this institution, and how have you kind of experienced that over the years?
Well, I think about the service that WWL has played as the most important service that a broadcasting organization can do, and that is for the care and protection of the community. And I go back to Katrina. We left our homes on that Sunday and went to Baton Rouge to ride out the storm. And of course, we know what happens after that. And to know that WWL was right on the air and keeping us attuned to what was going on so that we could monitor our own personal issues, but also understand the depth and breadth of this tragic storm. But having WWL on the air and speaking with the listeners 24/7 was so important. And I think when I think of those kinds of moments, we're blessed that WWL has that strength and the ability and the talent to ensure that we're getting the information in real time moments. So that's really what comes to mind when I think of WWL. Always there, always with the information, and always ensuring that the people who are listening are getting everything that they need to know to make the right decisions. I'd like to also thank the team at WWL that have been so consistent throughout the years. And we go back to those days of Garland Robinette and the work that he did and the work that Newell is doing, and Scoot and Tommy Tucker. But the people behind the scenes that you don't hear about, or don't hear at least, the Helen Centeni and Diane Newman. Those two ladies themselves are fantastic representatives of the station, as well as Jordan, the producer. And I just, there's so many more. Doug, you've got Dave Cohen, Chris Miller. I'm going to leave names out. Chris Hanzo for many years ago. Jim Hanzo, excuse me. I was thinking of Chris Miller. But just a lot of good people who really made a difference in our community and continue to make a difference, bringing information to us, allowing us to have information that we can use to make our own decisions. I am so happy to send best wishes and happy birthday wishes to WWL on its 100th anniversary. And here's looking at you for another 100 years, or should I say, here's listening to you for another 100 years plus. Now, maybe I won't be there for more 100 years, but the listening audience will be treated to the continued excellence that WWL has given to our community for many, many years. So go and celebrate. Y'all deserve it. Touchdown, WWL.